I'm going to say something controversial, but very true. Women have been lied to. We've been told that in order to feel happy about ourselves and our bodies, we have to do excessive cardio and go on these restrictive diets when that's just factually incorrect. We've been told that if we build muscle, we're going to look bulky and no guys are ever going to like us. Women are put under a microscope, constantly critiqued about our body shape, size, how we look, no matter what stage of the process we're at. Regardless of all of those facts, I was just like you. I was going on these restrictive diets in order to be skinny. I absolutely hated working out and I was constantly tired all of the time because I wasn't nourishing my body correctly. Like most of you, I was doing Chloe Ting workouts during 2020. I was trying these restrictive diets. I was doing so many different things instead of actually building muscle. And about 3 years ago, I decided to make a big change for myself and take a workout class at my college. I knew nothing about the gym and I wanted to meet new people because I was going to a new school, so I just decided, let me just take this fitness class. It was so silly. All of a sudden I turned 18 and I wasn't walking the mile in PE. I was choosing to take a PE class in my college because I wanted to have the body of my dreams. I wanted to learn how to feel good in my body. And through this process, there were 3 main concerns I had. Number 1, I didn't want to walk into the gym and look stupid and not know what I was doing. Number 2, I really feared judgment. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't want people to come up to me or judge me. And number 3, I was incredibly scared of failure. I wanted a plan that could actually work and I could stick to for the long term, not just the short term. If you happen to relate to anything I just said, welcome. My name is Natalie, and on this channel I share ways I'm getting my shit together so that you can get your shit together. If that sounds good to you, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and be sure to check out my Instagram. We're almost to 10K on Instagram, and that's where I post more fitness and lifestyle content as a whole. But no matter what stage of your journey you are at, I want you to understand that muscle is functional, and it also takes a while to build. So just by starting strength training, you're not gonna all of a sudden look like these gym influencers who've been working out for 5 years. Today's video, I'm just gonna be sharing with you guys everything I wish I knew before I started my fitness journey 3 years ago because I was clueless on how to actually start. We are gonna be talking about how to gain weight in the right places because the number on the scale doesn't actually matter as much as you think. But if you're someone like I was, where I wasn't really starting out with a heavier physique, I was starting out with more of a skinny bone white girl booty, I literally did not have an ass at all, and all I wanted was a little bit of something back there. There is no shame in wanting a little bit of a booty or just wanting to improve your physique in general. Now, in order to build muscle, you need to be eating in a calorie surplus, which essentially means you need to enter into a bulk. Now, I know the word bulk is really scary, but you are not going to get fat, I promise you, bestie, and even then, you are going to tone out that muscle. We go into phases of bulking and cutting if you want that muscular toned look. Even the Pilates girlies will have to eat enough food in order to gain that toned muscle look. I'm not going to be arguing about which one is better, Pilates or strength training. Honestly, do what fits your needs best and experiment. Fitness is supposed to be a journey and you're supposed to have at least a little bit of fun doing it. Another thing that has to be present if you want to gain muscle is this idea of progressive overload, which essentially means you're just doing a little bit more than you did last time. When I did my weight training class, we actually recorded how many sets and how many reps of a certain weight we did on each different exercise. After that fitness class, I stopped focusing on recording and I more so started focusing on failure and how my body felt. You by no means have to record every single thing you do, but if you're the type of person who wants to implement progressive overload, you have to keep a mental note. You can put it in your notes. That's something you can do if you want to record your progress week by week, but it's not necessary to do that. And the reason I say that is because I personally feel that when you are doing more, you will feel yourself doing more and you'll feel your body getting used to it. Before we dive into the numbers, I need to explain to you guys why muscle is actually functional. A lot of people don't know this, but for every pound of muscle you have, you are automatically burning an extra 5 to 10 calories. Each pound of your muscle tissue at rest burns about 6 to 10 calories, whereas fat burns about 2 to 3. This is why the weight on the scale literally does not matter when you're starting to weight train, because your body composition is shifting, okay? You are burning fat while also putting on muscle, and that muscle is actually burning more calories throughout the day. Muscle also has so many more benefits than just the look of having muscles. Even if that's not what you're going for, functional muscle can actually make you more energized throughout the day and also create mental clarity and allow you to reach a flow state faster and more often. But just by adding 10 pounds of muscle, you are literally going to be burning an extra 60 to 100 calories a day just by doing nothing. That isn't even by going on the treadmill or going and working out. But something that is really important is your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. This is the rate that we're going to be using to count your macros. Essentially, your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories you burn just by being at rest and the amount of calories you need to maintain your own weight. To save both you and me time, I have a calculator linked in the description where you can calculate your base BMR. This is going to give you an idea of the amount of calories you need in order to maintain your current weight. We can then use this to know how much you need in order to bulk. Now, your BMR also changes based on your activity level, so keep in mind how many days you work out, if you're very active, if you're not that active, if you tend to do more cardio and less strength training. These are all things that are important in really understanding your body composition. If you're just starting out, eat at maintenance, get to the gym 2 to 3 times a week, start strength training. Naturally, your body is going to want to eat more. Because you're burning more calories, you're going to have more of an appetite. Even if you don't have an appetite, make sure you eat and sleep. Let's break down how fast you should actually gain weight based on your experience level. If you're a beginner, your weekly weight gain target should be about 1/4 to 1/2% of your body weight. For example, if you're 150 pounds, you should be gaining about 0.4 to 0.75 of a pound each week. This is a gradual process, okay? You're not going to be gaining like 2 pounds a week. If you're intermediate and have been working out for about 2 years, to get your weekly weight gain, you're going to want to aim for about 0.15 to 0.25% of your body weight. An example for a 150 pound person is going to be about 0.2 to 0.4 pounds per week. The more into your workout journey you become, the harder it is to gain muscle, and the more you have to look at what you actually eat in order to get the results you want. A good starting point is to just do 10% of your maintenance calories. So essentially, take that number you got from your BMR and multiply it by 1.10. Now that we understand that, let's get into counting your macros. Now, this is something I'm personally implementing in my book. You totally don't have to do this if you want. You can skip to the actual workout plan and just decide, I'm just going to eat what I want. I'm not going to worry about the scale. I highly recommend that if you are a beginner in weight training, that you do try to be mindful of what you eat, but you literally don't have to use a scale and weigh out every single little thing. This is just what I'm doing for my book because I think it's super important to actually look into the foods you eat and make sure that they're sustainable and will give you good sources of energy. For protein requirements, most people will do about 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. A lot of people, when they first start working out, will just like spam themselves with protein. A lot of the time, protein is good. Like, you drink enough protein, you have your protein shake, you eat your protein bars. Like, protein isn't the only thing that's important when it comes to gaining muscle. Don't get me wrong, it's super important. It's better to be in a protein surplus than it is a deficit. For example, I'm about 157 pounds right now, give or take, and so I always try to reach about 130 grams of protein per day. At the least, if I exceed that, I'm proud of myself, but bare minimum 130 grams of protein. Next is your fat requirements. Now, a lot of people assume that eating fats is bad, but there's different types of fats that you can eat. Not all fats are bad fats, you know? Like, if you're eating a fish, that's going to be an example of a really good fat because it has omega-3s and it has protein, but it's still more fatty. It's just something that you need. Fat isn't the enemy, it's just in a lot of things. So you have to be aware of if your fat goal is the minimum of 0.3 grams per pound of body weight. If you're 150 pounds, you only should be eating 45 grams of fat per day. So be selective with what fats you want to eat. Don't just eat like the worst type of fats. You usually go for more of a healthy fat. Also, keep in mind for fats that 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So keep that in mind, where all of the others, the carbs and protein, 1 gram is going to be 4 calories. Moving on to carbs, a lot of people assume that carbs are the enemy, right? They're the op. No. In a bulk, carbs are not bad. I'd say do about 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight you have, because I'd say that like with carbs, sometimes we're just gonna eat bread, right? You know what I mean? And it's like not a bad thing during a bulk. You're gonna want to cut out carbs more so when you go into a cutting phase, because the thing about carbs, especially fast carbs like sugars, is that your body burns through them very fast. It can give you quick forms of energy, but it's not really that sustainable. So if you're in a cut and you're eating a lot of carbs, your body's gonna feel a lot more tired, and therefore you're going to be a lot hungrier even though you already ate your calories for the day. Something that's helpful for literally everyone watching this video is go on ChatGPT and ask them about your specific body weight and your specific activity level. I'd love to go into the nuances for you, but that's all I have for this portion of the video when it comes to counting macros. If you want a detailed video going into what I eat in a day, that's also something I would really love to share with you guys. One more thing, if you're in a period of time where it's very difficult for you to eat food, I think you should just focus on your activity and just getting to the gym and eating full 3 meals a day. Like, a lot of us women have been taught a lot of lies about the way we eat. Food is no more than just fuel for your body. Okay, your body needs to be able to function. Working out shouldn't feel like a toxic relationship. You know what I mean? It shouldn't feel like you are punishing yourself by going to the gym. It should feel like something you want to go do, because at the end of the day, if you don't have a desire to improve yourself, it's going to be really, really difficult when you face inevitable setbacks in your process. Because a lot of times what happens is someone will be working out for a certain amount of time, losing a certain amount of weight, gaining a certain amount of weight, whatever your goals are, and then they'll reach a gap where they're not gaining or losing weight and they'll feel very discouraged, but your body composition is literally changing by doing strength training. Again, muscle is functional, so you're actually burning more calories at rest with muscle than fat. If you build more muscle and you stick to the plan, over time, you're going to burn more calories, and it's going to be easier for you to reach your goals, and you'll look good doing it, and you'll be able to eat the foods you want. That is a reality that exists. But we're going to be moving into the part of the video where I talk about my workout routine. So this is just going to be a basic rundown of my current split. If you guys would like a more in-depth tutorial or vlog of me going to the gym, let me know. If you're skipping to this part of the video, this is the TLDR. If you're wanting to gain muscle, you're going to want to be eating about 300 more calories per day than you typically do. We want to avoid having it be a harsh process, and we want to acclimate your body to being active and to working out. So honestly, don't focus too much on the macros and counting your calories and all of that. Just have 3 healthy meals a day. One of my favorites is some Greek yogurt with protein and then a little bit of granola on top. For a midday snack, you can easily eat a sandwich. This is more so carbs, or an alternative is also lettuce wrapped burgers or lettuce wrapped veggie burgers. And then for dinner, it's easy to do rice, veggies, and some sort of meat or protein. If you guys would like more of a detailed plan about meal planning and things like that, be sure to let me know in the comments. Let's just go straight into my workout split. So I currently work out 4 to 5 days a week, depending on how my body feels. You might be asking yourself, well, Natalie, shouldn't you stick to a plan? Yes, but if I'm on my period or I don't feel good, I'm not gonna work out. And that's the main thing to keep in your mind. If you're wanting to gain weight or build muscle, you also have to literally listen to your muscles. Like, babe, if your muscles are hurting and you don't think you can go to the gym, either go to the gym and like walk on the treadmill and do something light, go in the sauna if your gym has a sauna, or just don't go to the gym and have a rest day. Rest is extremely important. So I do 2 leg days a week. One is going to be hamstrings, glutes. Now, obviously, when you do squats or anything of that nature, it's going to hit your entire leg. But for my current workout goals, I try to focus in on different splits. That way I can target different areas of my leg. This is actually the workout I did today. So I started off with some squats, and when it comes to my squats, I've actually been doing pause squats and making sure I go down all of the way. Form is extremely important. So if you're doing barbell squats and you have never done barbell squats before, do it with no weight. The bar weighs 45 pounds. One thing I see all the time in the gym is people will rack on weights that are way too heavy for them and not actually go down all the way or hit depth. The main thing about compound exercises is you want to get your form right, because these exercises are what's going to build your booty. Compound exercises are squats, deadlifts, and hip thrusts. One thing you'll notice about my workouts is I train until failure. So don't be afraid of looking stupid in the gym, because at the end of the day, it's better to look like you failed than to look like you're not gaining weight and not actually meeting your workout goals. Every single leg day, I make sure to start by stretching and doing some mobility exercises, because I know every single person has had an exercise day where their legs are cracking and they sound like a grandma. We don't need no creaky bones, okay? It increases our risk for injury, so we just want to make sure we stretch out before our workout. And then I always start off with a warm-up set on the barbell with nothing on it, just to get into the habit of doing a deep squat. And then I use the concept of progressive overload, and I actually put on my heaviest weight that I'm going to do first after doing my warm-up set. But as of recently, I've been trying to hit my maxes before I've kind of tired out my muscles. So I'll either do one set of something light and then go into my heavy, or I'll just do heavy straight off the bat. And my goal is for 6 to 8 reps of my heaviest weight before failure, okay? And I fail multiple times. This specific day, I did 5 sets of back squats, 3 sets of this specific weight, and then I went down to a 35 and then a 25. Again, that's 5 without counting the warm-up set with the barbell. And I actually had a very pleasant interaction with someone at the gym. I don't know if you guys can hear the audio, but basically he came up to me and he was just telling me to like look up, and he was like, I know what you're doing wrong. Like, you need to look up when working out.
I can tell exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So when you get on that, obviously those are your weakest muscles that are trying to push you out of the hole. Try this. Look up. I swear to God, it's psychological. Just look up on that. If you get stuck, just look up and try.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
I'm gonna do it again, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I do. And that's something I've heard before, but I was noticing I was looking down a lot. And so friendly interactions like that at the gym are very common. And I really wanted to put that in this video, because a lot of people assume that it's all like negativity sometimes and people judging you. But honestly, frequent gym goers are very helpful. And when your form is messed up, there's often someone who comes up and says, hey, like, try it this way. And they're very respectful about it. I've only had a few like really weird interactions in the gym, which are sometimes a part of it, but don't let that ruin your experience at the gym, especially as a woman. Us women need to stick together, and if we see something weird in the gym, just call it out. Don't let anyone take away your positive gym experience. And also realize, like, if someone's coming up to you, sometimes it's not like to like hit on you or anything weird like that. I know a lot of women are like, oh my god, like, I don't want people to come up to me at the gym, but like oftentimes people are very, very respectful and usually specifically talk about the workouts or give you advice. After squats, we go into Romanian deadlifts. Now, a lot of people will use dumbbells for this. I use the barbell, but I'd say if you're just starting out, use dumbbells, because the barbell can be difficult to maintain form. What you'll notice about Romanian deadlifts is you need to push your hips back. You need to hinge your hips. And this hinge motion can actually be practiced without any weight, and you can literally feel something, especially if you've never worked out. I literally saw this horrendous form of mine when I first started working out. This was my form when I first started working out, and that's so embarrassing because I know my lower back was hurting so bad and I didn't know why, and I was ego lifting like a motherfucker. Like, no, don't do this. A hack I saw on Instagram is, if you've never done Romanian deadlifts before, stand a little bit close to the wall and then just like poke your butt to touch the wall. I know that sounds really weird, but like that's literally the motion you're doing. You are keeping your core tight, and when I say keep your core engaged, you're basically just flexing your abs, okay? I have a weight belt on that really helps with my form sometimes and helps me go heavier. If you're first starting out, you don't necessarily need a weight belt, but I always do 3 sets of heavy and then go down to 1 set of regular, essentially keeping in mind that you just did squats and now you're doing RDLs. So it's okay to lower the weight if you feel like your legs are dying, because at this point, if you're doing all the movements right, you are already having a killer leg day. Another thing I want to point out about Romanian deadlift deadlift form is like you need to keep the bar very close to your legs. The bar never leaves your legs. Moving on, let's do hip thrusts. I use the hip thrust machine and I do the deadly trio, okay? I do hip thrusts into calves glute bridge. I do my regular set of hip thrusts and then immediately after I do a 15-second hold and then I go into what's called calves glute bridge, which is essentially doing pulses. As you can tell, I do pulses and then after that I'm literally like dying. I hate them, they're horrible, but this is literally something I actually feel in my glutes. Literally, this has made my ass so fat. Like, if there's one thing you implement from this video, please let it be hip thrusts. Another thing I just want to include, if you guys are looking for some really nice workout leggings, like I literally love this set and I just got it the other day from Amazon. I've been obsessed with E8 Oreo leggings from Amazon for so long. I've gotten them since like 2022 and they do the butt scrunch thing. They make your ass look fat. I'll leave the link in the description because it's cute as hell. On this particular day, I went into cable kickbacks and one little trick I do with cable kickbacks is I actually put my foot over the other foot. I do like a crissy-cross thing. This literally helps me feel it so much in my upper glutes. I'm really trying to build my shelf, so this really helps with that, and it also hits a little bit of your lower back, not in like a bad way. A lot of people assume like hitting your lower back is bad, but that is how you get those deep back lines, and it also allows for greater stability, so that is something I really love to do. I then finished everything off on the Stairmaster, and that was my 4-exercise workout routine for my first leg day. My next workout day, I do back and biceps. Now, the one thing you gotta remember for back days is lat pull downs. These are super important, and it's also really important not to ego lift with lat pull downs because you can really hurt your shoulders. So be sure that you're pushing yourself. Again, you're aiming for about 10 to 12 reps. At that 10 to 12 mark, you should be feeling like your back is on fire. I always go up in weight and really test myself. Again, this idea of progressive overload, but when I do that, I make sure to do 8 to 10 reps. Another thing I really like doing is assisted pull-ups. I've really just been focusing on growing my back, and by doing that, I do assisted pull-ups and make sure that I'm reaching 10 to 12 reps. One thing I will say though, if you're on a bulk and it's really hard for you to do pull-ups, don't feel bad about yourself. It takes a while to be able to do multiple pull-ups, and people make it look easy on Instagram, but in reality, just keep working towards those goals. One of my favorites is using the cable machine and doing face pulls. Talking about the cable machine, let's go into the next workout. These are going to be cable pull downs. So instead of tricep pull downs, which are more so, you know, using your triceps, you're going to want to pull the bar down. You should be able to feel your back kind of pulling against the cable, and then you're going to want to drive through. Moving on, I always do some dumbbell curls, and also I do bar curls sometimes as well. I like to implement what's called a drop set, so usually I'll start out with 20 pounds, and then I'll go down to 15 pounds, and on my last set, I will go till failure. Not only does back day work out your biceps already, but then after doing back, hitting biceps, your biceps and your arms are tired, which is why the next day of my workout split is cardio and abs. We're not going to be focusing on legs or arms. We're going to be focusing more on our core workouts and going on a run. When it comes to cardio, I usually do more cardio when I'm cutting. I'll always do like a mile run every single time I work out, but since I'm bulking, I'll usually just go on the Stairmaster for about 10 minutes and call it a day. One of my favorite core workouts is doing decline crunches. I usually do this with a weight and then I go down and do a drop set. I will do these until my abs literally physically hurt, and then I also like doing planks. I always do a plank for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then for the last 30 seconds of the 2 minutes, I'll do side to side planks, so that hits more of the obliques. During a bulk, it's still important to do ab and core workouts because it's actually used for a lot of other compound movements, and also your ab muscles are growing even if they aren't really showing. And I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I'll switch up my core workouts, so I'm just gonna put some of my favorite core workouts on the screen and you guys can go look up ones for yourself. Moving on to my push day, I do chest, tricep, and shoulder. Recently, I've actually been getting into benching, but I usually don't bench that much. It really just depends. I'll just go and bench a little just for fun. I always try for 3 sets of 12, and then I'll always go up in weight and just see how many I can do. I then move into some dumbbell incline press, or sometimes sometimes I use the bar, but usually I do dumbbells. All you're going to want to do for this is grab a bench and be sure to adjust it to about like an 120-degree angle about. You're just going to want it to be slanted so that way as you are pressing up, it's also hitting the chest. After this, I move into lateral raises. Now, these you have to be very particular about the form. I literally was doing it wrong for like a year, and I would always wonder why my shoulder cracked when I did these. It's because you have to angle your elbows in a way and you have to keep your arms slightly bent and have a little bit of a bend of the knees so that way you can more so hit your traps. I do 3 sets of 12 of these, sometimes 4 sets of 12 depending on how I feel or how my arms are. We then go to the cable machine and we do some tricep pull downs. I personally like doing these with a bar because it just feels a little bit better, but the rope also gives you a little bit more of a burn in my opinion. When you use the rope, I feel like it works out a little bit more of your forearms, but my personal experience, I like using the bar just because it's a little bit easier and I feel it more in my tricep. And lastly, I end things off with pec flies and also some push-ups. I usually do girl push-ups at this point. My chest is literally so tired, but I'll do push-ups until failure. Something that's super important about strength training is mind-muscle connection. If you have mind-muscle connection, you can feel when a muscle is actually being activated, which brings me into day number 5, which is my second leg day. This is all quad and calf focused. One of my favorite quad workouts is goblet squats. So you're going to want to get a plate and put it on the ground, and you're going to want to grab a dumbbell of your choice and bring it up to your chest like so. And you're going to want to do 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps. This is just what I personally do. I usually go straight into lunges. I'll do reverse deficit lunges when I'm focusing more on quad days. Occasionally I'll do Bulgarian split squats on my glute focused days. On days I don't feel like doing barbell lunges, I use some dumbbells. Personally, I like using the barbell because I've gotten used to it and I feel like it engages my core more. One of the main things to look out for when it comes to lunge form is you don't want to hyperextend your back. A lot of people assume that they should push their butt out when they're doing lunges, but this actually causes a lot of back pain. You're going to want to go into any workout with a neutral back. You're not poking out your butt. All you're doing is going down and touching your knee as close to the ground as possible and then driving up with force. Next, we're going to go leg extension. Now, I like to do single leg extension because I don't know about you guys, but I have a dominant leg and a non-dominant leg, so doing single leg extension really allows me to isolate that muscle and really tire it out. So I'll do 3 sets of single leg extension and then I'll go into both legs. If I'm feeling it, I'll do 1 more leg press machine and then call it good for the quad aspect of it. I do calf raises, which I always love using the stand-up machine rather than the sitting down one. I don't know, I just personally feel like the sitting down one is a little bit awkward. I aim to get to about like 12 to 15 reps of these. I actually like doing more reps of calf raises than I do other machines because I feel like I can make sure that I'm doing it well. Personally, I've had workouts where I've overloaded my calves and then the next day it's actually like something's wrong. Like I keep having calf cramps and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and be like, what's going on? And I hate it. So personally, I usually just do 1 calf workout to make sure my calves aren't neglected and that they're taken care of and loved. And with that being said, that is my current workout split. Now let's talk about the proteins I use. I just recently got this GNC protein. This is the Mass XXX muscle gainer. This one has creatine in it. One thing I'll say is I don't really like it that much. I don't like it that much. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys I like a product when I don't like a product. It's okay, it's all right. I'm still looking for that like one protein that I just can't get my hands off of. I'm still looking for that because I've had a lot of mid proteins and I've just been like, I'll make a smoothie out of it or, I'll drink it. Like, I'm gonna tell you guys my experience with creatine real fast. Number 1, you have to drink a lot of water. That's very important. And number 2, you have to go through a loading phase. Personally, I didn't do that, okay? I tried to do it and it was messing up my stomach really, really bad. So I was like, no, I'm just going to take the amount and like once it's built up after a few months or whatever, it can help me. And I feel like it does help. So I continue to take it. I have everything else I use for my workouts down in my Amazon storefront as well. So if you guys would like to go see everything I use, go check it out. The leggings are also in the storefront as well. Those are the things that I actually really, really love. But with that being said, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it isn't extremely long. I've been recording for basically 2 hours now, but if it is a long video, I'm willing to make that sacrifice because there was a lot of information in this video. Let me know down in the comments if you guys would like more videos like this where I talk about my fitness journey and what I eat, or comment down some ideas below, because fitness is such a big part of my life and I would love to be able to make videos that are more so specified to people who need help in certain areas or whatever the case is. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and check out all my social medias, like this video, subscribe, do all the things. I love you, bye.